Game 5 NLDS tonight. It's in a few hours. It's pretty much 3 hours away here. Live pregame thoughts here. Padres, Dodgers, Darvish against Yamamoto. Both lineups are out. Obviously, this game is going to be on Fox. 5:08 p.m. is the specific first pitch time. Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal, John Smoltz, Joe Davis. That will be the Fox broadcast. As always, Jesse and Tony will be on the broadcast for 97.3 The Fan, so you can listen there, obviously. I will be going live tonight after this game, regardless of what happens, if the Padres go to their second NLCS in the last 3 years, or if they have their season end tonight. Obviously, we are not hoping that happens, and I feel good going into this game. I made a video, obviously, last night. If you haven't watched it, you can go watch it before this game gets underway. But I feel good going into this game, and I still stand by those reasons. With Darvish on the mound, the Padres, they did well against Yamamoto. I mean, first inning, I think, is going to be pretty crucial. How Yamamoto goes in that first inning. Are the Padres going to be able to pounce? Because if they can do that, Darvish works with the lead, and then you've got, we know it's going to be the Padres' high-leverage guys probably right out of the gate there. Not your Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui. It's going to be Estrada, maybe Morahone, but probably Scott, Adam, Suarez, and you'll figure out the rest later, I would think. Maybe Schilt isn't that aggressive as Dave Roberts is, because I feel like Darvish is going to go longer than Yamamoto, and then we'll see, do the Dodgers go right to Jack Flaherty after Yamamoto? But yeah, getting on him early, and then really that's where Dave Roberts, if the Padres have a lead, Dave Roberts on the other side, he is not going to give anything for those Dodgers pitchers. Like, once you're in trouble, you face those three batters, you are out of there. So I'm interested in seeing how that's going to go. First couple of innings, I assume the Dodgers are going to want like one time through the order with Yamamoto, but hopefully he doesn't even get there because the Padres just come right out of the gate and crush. But both lineups obviously are out. Now, the Freddie Freeman thing, as I'm live here, I don't totally know if Freeman is locked into this lineup. I think he still has to go through his pregame stuff. And we saw the other day, Freddie Freeman was in the lineup, and it was just gamesmanship on the Dodgers' part. Freddie, I guess, knew that he wasn't going to be in the lineup that day. And he was just in the lineup to fool around with the Padres. We just give you the lineup and say, hey, come try to beat us. But maybe we just operate differently. Arias, he's leading off. He's at first base leading off. Tatis is in right. Profar is in left. Manny's at third. Merrill's in center. Bogey's at short. David Peralta is the DH. Obviously, he homered in that last game at Dodger Stadium. Crony is at second. Higgy is catching. I'm still waiting to see if Crony's going to come up with a bigger hit than he had. I think that was game 3, where he had a couple of knocks. Is he going to come up with that moment like late in a game? Guys are on base, driving insurance runs, or hit a big homer, or are you going to have a moment like game 4? I know it's not at home, but this is literally elimination. Your season's on the line. Where game 4, NLDS, Padres season was not on the line there. It could have went back to Dodger Stadium for a game 5, but the Padres ended it right there. Here, your season, it is done if you lose tonight's game. So this could be even bigger than that. And then you go on to the NLCS, it would even be bigger than that if the Padres would go on, beat the Mets in the NLCS, and then go to the World Series. But obviously, that's thinking way too far ahead right now. But I'm waiting for that still. Profar, could he? I know he had that robbery in game 2 against Mookie, but offensively, could he have a game like he had in the regular season? The night after, maybe a couple nights after, Will Smith calls him irrelevant. He goes and hits that ball off the wall, and those are the go-ahead runs. I think he cleared the bases. So is Profar going to have a moment like that? Luis Ariz, he's been pretty quiet here this postseason, so could he be the table setter for a big moment? Or could someone at the bottom of the order get on base and Ariz does his job with a hit? Just get a knock somewhere, and he becomes a hero. There's guys in this lineup that can do that. Obviously, there's guys in the Dodgers lineup that can do that as well. But with Shohei Ohtani, I know that's a big talking point. Don't be afraid of him. Attack him, right? Just have the right matchup there. Attack him. Darvish has been able to get him out. Tanner Scott has been able to get him out. You're probably going to have to face someone other than Scott and Darvish. I'm saying the Padres will probably have to throw someone other than Scott and Darvish. But you can get Shohei out. You have to execute. And then Mookie Betts, he's hot right now, obviously. He Probably should have 3 homers in the last 3 games if it wasn't for Jurickson Profar with maybe the best catch in Padres postseason history. I mean, that was legendary. So it's not just like hey, we can walk Ohtani to get the Betts. No, Betts is hot. Now, Freddie Freeman, obviously, if he's going to be in this Dodgers lineup, that's a question there with the health of that ankle, obviously. I thought after, what was that, game 4, I was like, yeah, Freddie's going to be in the lineup. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. Season's on the line. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. Could be, future Hall of Famer. I know he's not feeling great, but this is different from game 4, going into game 4, where he just played game 3 and he was hobbling in game 3, and you don't have a lot of time before game 4. Here, he missed game 4. Then there was the day off yesterday. And now today to get treatment and be ready. So, he's had that time going into tonight. So, not surprised to see him in there, at least as of now. They could change it, but as of now, he's in there. Teoscar Hernandez batting 4th. Max Muncy batting 5th at third base. Will Smith, Kike Hernandez, Gavin Lux, and Tommy Edman. They did make a change. I think they swapped Kike and Gavin Lux, because I did see the Dodgers tweet about that. Interesting there. Going with 2 consecutive righties there instead of having Lux go and then Kike. Tommy Edman is a switch, obviously, but he's at shortstop. No Miguel Rojas, but he could be available, I think, later in the game. There was a video, I think, out there of him taking some grounders before tonight's game. So we'll see what happens with his availability. But yeah, the approach by the Dodgers with their pitching is going to be interesting to me. How long does Yamamoto go? Is Flaherty someone that they bring in right after that? Or are they okay with him pitching in the 7th inning? Or do they just want to save him for extra innings in case that happens? I think Martin Perez would be that guy for the Padres. On my bullpen chart, I did put Michael King in there because Schilt said yesterday, nothing's off the table in a game 5, obviously. He did throw, I think, 77 pitches a couple nights ago, so it's not like he's had a ton of time off. But I don't know when his bullpen day would be. Would his bullpen day be today if it's on a every 5th day thing? Because if that's the case, then he could just do that today in your season's on the line. And maybe you go with Michael King for an inning, or you go for 3 batters if you like the matchups there. Maybe they want Michael King for 3 batters over someone at the bottom of their bullpen. I feel like Michael King, though, would be, him and Perez would be more extra inning. If you have to throw him, you throw him, because they probably want to save Michael King, obviously, for perhaps a game 1 on Sunday. I think that would line up right. Game 1 on Sunday against the Mets. By the way, the NLCS schedule, I saw the first few games. What are we doing, MLB? Game 2 is at Petco on Monday at 1 o'clock. What are we doing? And anyone that wants to say, oh, so the Yankees are in prime time. They've been able to have the Yankees in prime time anyway. They've been staggering these games with the NLDS with no issue. So you can't put Padres. By the way, that's another New York team that you're taking out of prime time. You're putting them at 4 o'clock in New York. So I know the Yankees are bigger, but what's the more appealing matchup? Guardians or Tigers against the Yankees? And by the way, Skubal wouldn't be going game 1 for the Tigers because he's pitching in game 5 tomorrow. Or Padres Mets. I mean, I know the Yankees have a huge audience, but I feel like Padres Mets would be a more appealing series to baseball fans. And then people would say, oh, but Monday Night Football. Well, Yankees game's going to get up against Monday Night Football anyway. Who cares about other sports that are going on? Just put the best matchups. Put both games. How about that? Put both games in prime time. If you want the Padres to play at 7 o'clock and you can put the Yankees at 4 o'clock, there you go. You can still get the prime time there at 7 o'clock in New York, right? And you push the Padres back to 7. Okay, I know that's rough for the New York watchers, but the game's on the West Coast. Sometimes it sucks to be on the East Coast. I had to deal with that a little bit when I was in college, but hey, it's the postseason, Sometimes you got to make sacrifices and make it work. But yeah, 1 o'clock, that's interesting. But focusing on this round, obviously, I'm going to get to the chat here. Let's see how Padres fans are feeling. Well, there's also Dodger fans in here. Shocker. Yeah, Devin says, very cool. It's a Japanese pitcher duel. I think that Padres-Dodgers fans don't care too much about that. to be honest. Like, we just want to win this game. But this viewership, yes, there's going to be a lot of people watching this game in Japan for sure. I think it's a Saturday morning there for this broadcast tonight at 5 our time. And yeah, Yamamoto, Darvish, obviously Ohtani. Like, there's a lot of star power, Japanese star power in this game. So yes, all eyes will be locked in on this matchup, no doubt about that. So yes, that is cool. But for me, I'm not really thinking about that, to be quite honest. To me, I'm thinking, let's go win this game. Let's get on Yamamoto early. Darvish, this is the guy we want out there based on the guys that we have available right now. Want this guy out there. I did tweet out earlier there. I saw on my timeline a picture from I want to say it was Casey Alfred that he tweeted earlier today of Darvish and his wife, I believe, when Peter Seidler passed away and they had the flowers up on the steps. Him there, bowing to Peter Seidler, paying their respects to Peter. I know Musgrove's family was there. I forget if there was other Padres that showed up there that day, but Darvish, I believe, was the first notable Padre that showed up. And sometimes things work out beautifully, where Darvish now has the opportunity to send home the team that Peter hated the most. I think that's pretty fair to say. Send them home, back to wherever they live in the offseason, and the Padres can bust back down to Petco Park and have an NLCS against a team that they played in the 2022 postseason. So that's a pretty cool opportunity that Darvish does have here tonight. So that's pretty cool. Also, something I wanted to address. I saw Jim Russell promoting John and Jim, obviously, earlier today. He said, just the biggest game in Padres franchise history, no big deal. And I disagree with that. Biggest game in Padres history? They played in World Series games. The NLCS in 2022, before the Phillies obviously, had that series. I would say those are bigger games than Game 5 of a division series. I get it. The Padres season is on the line, and I get it. It's the Dodgers, and you have an opportunity to end Shohei's first season with the Dodgers, and Yamamoto and Freddie and Mookie's season, and maybe end Dave Roberts' tenure with the Dodgers. I get the opportunity that you have here, and again, it's amped up with what has happened this series, and it's the Dodgers, but I can't say that an NLDS game, regardless of the circumstances, I cannot say that that's the biggest game in franchise history. It's huge. It's one of the biggest games, but it's not the biggest game. So, Jim, I think you can calm down with that take there, buddy. But maybe that's just me. Maybe others feel differently. It is one of the biggest games, but it's not the biggest game. SDSU Man 1 says Yamamoto is erratic. Got to take advantage. For sure. Get on him early because he's not going to be in there very long, right? If you're going to get on him, hopefully it's right out of the gate there with Arise getting on base and then Tatis going yard or one of those guys there going deep. Jesslyn says Darvish hasn't had much rest, so my fingers are crossed tight. I believe he's pitching on regular rest, though, so he actually has had the rest because that start that he had in Game 2 was on, Sunday? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so he had 4 days rest, so a regular rotation every 5th day. He's pitching on regular rest. And Yamamoto, I think, is what, or maybe he's pitching. No, he pitched Game 1, right? So he's pitching on actually kind of normal rest for him because I think normal rest for him is 5 days rest, not 4. So both guys are actually pitching on normal rest. But don't expect these guys to be going 6 innings unless Darvish. Don't expect Yamamoto to go 6 innings, regardless, I feel like. But with Darvish, don't expect Darvish to go 6 innings unless he's pitching like he did literally Game 2. I think he has to be pitching that well because I think Mike Shildt has faith in this Padres bullpen. You don't want to give these Dodger hitters the multiple looks at Darvish. I know he has a bunch of pitches, but still, it's Game 5. You don't want to risk that. You want to go with the best matchups. So this is probably going to be a long game with all the pitching changes. Just be ready for that. Yep, don't take the foot off the gas. I agree there. We need to score early and keep scoring. Avoid the big inning for the Dodgers and don't have runners on base for Ohtani. Yeah, that's going to be a key. getting the bottom of that Dodgers order out. We saw that was that game 1 when not Darvish, Ohtani had the homer. Guys were on base in front of that, right? We saw it with Cease earlier this year. I know Cease isn't on the mound, but I think it was Cease walking Rojas, the 9-hitter, and then Ohtani comes up. Like, cannot do that. Don't give free passes. Attack those guys. I know Gavin Lux had some success earlier in this series, getting some balls to hit, but attack those guys. Try to get those guys out. And if they beat you, they beat you, but don't give them the free pass. That will really piss me off if they give the free passes to the Dodgers ahead of someone like Ohtani or ahead of someone like Betts. Attack. You don't want to be giving them these runs here tonight. Yeah, I mean, I would totally take a Jackson Merrill grand slam in the postseason. That would be awesome. I'd be surprised for it to be a grand slam, but I wouldn't be surprised for it to be a homer, just because this guy, it feels like the moment is never too big for him. He comes up. He may not come up clutch. He may hit it right at someone, but rarely does he like come away with a bad at bat in these situations here. Wow, we got Leon from Germany. Greetings from Germany, LFGSD and advanced to the NLCS. Yeah, wow. Thank you so much. I had no idea that I had someone from Germany. So thank you. Shout out. Let's see. Do you think Yamamoto will have a similar performance as his last? I wouldn't be surprised by it. This is his first winner-take-all postseason game. There's the pressure there. The Dodgers may have someone warming up by pitch 1, like as Yamamoto is going, because he's going to get 3 batters at least. But you want that guy to be ready in case it really doesn't start off well. Is he going to feel that pressure on him? We'll see. And just, I mean, it sometimes can turn into Yama meatballs. And the Padres have had success off of Yamamoto this year. So I'm sure hoping for that. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that to tell you what's going to happen, but I could see it for sure. Jeffrey says, tonight we'll see what the Padres are really made of. It's time to put up or shut up. The season is on the line. Let's go out there and kick the Dodgers A. Yep. Sure hope so. I'm nervous and excited. You know, I'm optimistic. I was talking about that last night with that video that I put out. I'm excited. I'm thinking optimistically. I feel good going into the game, but you still have that thought like your season could be done here in a few hours or in 5 hours. Like that also sucks. With how much has gone right for the Padres this year and all the great moments, and it has felt like this is the Padres year. And if that doesn't happen, when you had a 2-1 series lead, at Petco Park with a chance to close it out, that would really suck. Darvish, I feel like Padres pitching, they have the pitching advantage. They just have the team advantage, in my opinion, going into this game. If they can't close this out, man, that would be really disappointing. Mason asks, who in our lineup do you expect to step up today? Who maybe has been quiet so far? Crony and Profar are the two guys that I would look at. Profar, definitely, because he's in between Tatis and Manny, and Tatis is, he's the best guy in the postseason right now. He has a 1.688 OPS. He's hitting .438. The guy owns Dodger Stadium. And then Manny has the history off of Yamamoto, and we know that it seems like he thrives off the booze at Dodger Stadium. I'm not saying Profar doesn't. I think he does as well, obviously. But my point is, Profar could get some really good pitches to hit there tonight with Tatis and Manny being the bread and Profar being the turkey or whatever sandwich you want to make. So I would point to Profar. Irrelevant, you know what. Are we the villains again? I seem to hear that narrative a lot. Well, the Dodgers will tell you that. Dave Roberts will tell you that. Yep, for sure. And tonight they will be, because they're at Dodger Stadium. They're the road team. But again, who deserves to be the villain? Not the Padres. I saw some Dodger fan post the Sandlot, where the privileged, I don't know how to describe it, the privileged bad guys in Sandlot, they're rolling up in their bikes, and you had the other characters. They had the good guys as Dodger players, and they had the bad guys as Padre players. And Ha-Seong Kim was on there. It's like he's not even playing, so good job from you, that Dodger fan that made that. And two, we're not the bad guys. The Padres are not the bad guys. Okay? Ken Rosenthal, the Dodgers, Dave Roberts, like those are the bad guys in this series, not the Padres. From the Dodger perspective, of course, you're going to say the other team's the bad guys, but like that just didn't make sense. The Padres as the villain doesn't make sense. Did Padres fans throw stuff at Dodger players in the outfield in this series? All right. Did Mike Schilt say that another player did something dangerous and it was disrespectful? No, Dave Roberts did to Manny. Did a national baseball writer call Dodger players names and continue the narrative of the Padres being the bad guys and the villains? No. Ken Rosenthal did about Padres players. So, yeah, that's what I've got on that. What happened with you guys, John and Jim? Weren't you guys cool at one point? No, we're cool. We're definitely cool. Yeah, nothing happened. I'm just joking around with Jim. I disagree with his point. That's all. No, I'll have those guys on again, hopefully this month or after this, hopefully, World Series run ends. No, we're good. I was just on their show during the wild card series. So we're good. I was just joking around. We joke around with each other all the time. So if you ever think we're taking shots, we're not. It's fun. Hey, Ben, we got this. Yamamoto would probably go 2 innings and Flaherty right after. Maybe. Maybe it depends on the matchups. Ben, from 1 to 10, how nervous are you? Again, I'm more excited than nervous. I'd put it like maybe a 5. I'm definitely not like at a 10. I disagree with this, Ray. Walk Ohtani every time. It depends on the situation. I'm not just being scared of Ohtani and giving him a free base. Again, don't give these guys free bases. Unless like you need to, don't give them free bases. I'm not trying to lose this game on free bases. Because then something could happen later in the inning and you just put that guy on base and that guy scores because of something wacky that happened. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Hobby says, my dream is to meet you in person at the game. Well, maybe that'll happen at one point. I don't know. I would say elevate your dreams, man. I'm just a Padre fan. I love talking to other Padres fans like this. But I appreciate the comment there. Thank you. Carlos says, Ben, are you advocating for the Padres to be on primetime? You have nobody who commands primetime. Your city is a small market. Okay, this is a Dodger fan. Okay. Yeah, I'm advocating for the Padres. And it's the Mets, by the way. If they advance the NLCS, yes, I'm advocating for it. Because why would you put them on at 1 p.m. in our market? Because that's where the games would be. 1 p.m. on a Monday. Padres, Mets, nobody who commands primetime. Fernando Tatis Jr. doesn't command primetime. Manny Machado doesn't command primetime. Really? Come on now. I get it. We don't have Shohei Ohtani on our team. I get that, but that's a joke. Yes, I'm advocating for it. Lindor doesn't command primetime. I mean, the Mets have key players too. This isn't all about the Padres. So, yeah, I disagree with it. Would the NBA, I don't know if maybe they would because they have to based on scheduling, but MLB doesn't have to based on scheduling. Do other sports put their playoff games, especially the LCS, do they put it at 1 p.m. on a Monday when people have to work? Like, no, they don't. So, yeah, I am saying they should be in prime time. I don't care what team it is, by the way. You make it to the LCS. Yes, you should be in both of the games should be in prime time. Yes. All right, I think that's it here. Let me check social media one more time to see if there's any other updates real quick. All right, don't see anything. All right, that's going to do it. Again, I'll have a live show after the game. Hopefully, it's us celebrating the Padres going to the LCS and the Dodgers season being over. We'll see what happens. See ya.